All right. Okay, we are getting everything started here, and we are sharing on Facebook in about 20 seconds, if it's still the same time frame. About halfway there, we're almost there. All right, we're good to go on Facebook.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you coming to this month's Women's Veterans Empowerment Dialogue. And today we have Marina with us. And so Marina, I would like to just throw it over to you to just kind of introduce yourself and let you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thanks, Camilla. Hi, everybody. So I am a 24-year veteran of the United States Navy. I retired last year. I'm this close to being at my 1-year anniversary. Oh gosh, I got out of the military. I retired like prime in the middle of the pandemic, which was, transitioning is already scary, but adding in a pandemic really just kind of, it's pretty crazy. But I feel that I definitely transitioned successfully. I hit some road bumps like we all do, right? I tell everyone that, gosh, transitioning out of the military, it's a roller coaster. It is a enormous roller coaster of emotion and things that you have to do and all that stuff. So, gosh, I mean, I live here in California, and I don't know what else.
That's okay. That's all right. So today we're going to talk a little bit about mentorship, and you are a awesome mentor expert, right? And we are so excited to have you come and talk to us a little bit. But can you tell us a little bit about your organization first?
Yeah, I sure can. Absolutely. So Military Women's Collective was something that I created because of how I felt in the military. And I'm going to try not to get all like, a lot of times women in the military, we feel kind of invisible. We're, what is it? 1% of the entire United States joins the military. Imagine how small of that 1% women in the military are. It's like, right? So I wanted to create a place where women could access mentorship, where they wouldn't feel invisible, where we could, work with them on empowerment, focus on women as a whole person, basically figure out what your identity is post-military, because that is something that I feel is the biggest issue, is that people, when they get out of the military, be that 4 years or 24 years, we don't know who we are anymore. We've been, sergeant this or major that or whoever, and we need to, gosh, we just need to figure out like who we want to be when we grow up, right? Because that's really what it is. Post-military, you've been told what to do for this long, and now you have to figure out what it is that you want to do, and that's where MWC can step in and help you out when we run mentoring sessions. So
awesome. That's so important. And I think that you're absolutely right. So much of that is kind of trying to figure out who you are and what you want the rest of your life to be and what that looks like. And that's so important. So when we're let's get down to kind of what the basics of our definitions are. What do you think is mentorship, and how do you define that?
Oh gosh, defining mentorship. I feel like mentorship is really about listening to the person that is asking the question, because you can sometimes read between the lines when someone is asking for mentorship. And that's what I try to do. I try to dig deep into what the main question is so that we can get to the heart. I feel like mentorship and coaching are very similar because, when you're a coach, you do the same kind of thing. You listen to what is being asked, but you also hear what's behind it. And like for me, I would ask people questions like, gosh, what do you think I'm good at? And they said, well, you're very personable. So maybe you should do something that where you're, on camera, or you're in front of people, or where you're talking to people all the time. And I was like, okay. So I thought, well, let me look into corporate, but that wasn't what spoke to my soul. And that is something that is what got me interested in mentorship too, was seeing all these amazing people, giving them of themselves freely, and just, giving people that sounding board, or that ear that they needed, to either one, tell them, yes, what you're going for sounds amazing and you should totally attack that, or giving them the recommendation of maybe, shifting gears and trying something different, because maybe that's something that they didn't know that they liked, but because they've been doing the same thing over and over in the military, right?
Yeah. I think that's so important. So you touched on this a little bit, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about what got you interested in mentorship, and what about it spoke to you.
Oh, definitely. So, as I was transitioning out of the military myself, um, you don't know what you don't know. There's this amazing person, and I don't, I gave his book to someone else because they were going through their transition. There's an author who is a retired Green Beret. His name is Herb Thompson, and he has this catchphrase. It says, "Own your transition." And by the way I owned my transition was by reaching out to other people and saying, I don't know everything, because you don't know what you don't know, right? I don't know everything about the transition. This was obviously back, a year and a half. And I honestly, seriously, still, like, you can't know everything, right? But yeah, back in a couple of years ago, when I was first starting my transition, I started reaching out to people because I thought, you know what, let me see what it is that I'm interested in. So I looked into business development, not my jam. I looked into I looked into other things like HR, also not my jam. And I figured out that the nonprofit world, or the nonprofit space, was definitely my jam. So getting the thing that got me interested in it, was really reaching out to other people, and seeing how incredibly selfless and amazing people are when you just ask for help. And that's all I did. I just said, hey, I don't I need resources. One of the very first resources that I got connected with was something called Vets to Industry. And to this day, uh, most of my bestest friends, and a lot of them I haven't even met in person, are from meeting them here on LinkedIn, and then continuing to have relationships, you know working with them in a nonprofit and stuff like that. So that's really what got me interested, is seeing how other people mentored me. I wanted to give back and pay it forward.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think some of what you're touching on here, what is unique about mentorship for women, and why is it important for women?
Oh, definitely. That is an awesome question. I feel that as women, um, a lot of times we, gosh, eh, I don't want anybody to feel bad when I say this, but I feel like we suffer more from imposter syndrome than the men do. Okay. I'm getting claps. No, but seriously, I mean, there's things that you can read that talk about even on somewhere like LinkedIn. So I know this is going to Facebook, but on LinkedIn, if you want to connect with me, then please create an account and come talk to me there. I would, and also, I mean, I have email as well, but I highly recommend for anybody leaving the military that wants to get into, you know, somebody just said, we'll say it, women do suffer more imposter syndrome. Yeah, no, if you want to talk mentorship, especially the women that are transitioning out, I would love to connect with you, because that's where I do most of my mentorship. But the reason I'm talking about LinkedIn is because I've noticed repeatedly women will reach out to me and say, hey, what do you think of this position? I don't think I'm qualified for it. And I look at it and I look at their LinkedIn profile and I look back at the job description and I'm like, girl, you are totally qualified for this. Yeah, but this, but no, men do not care that they're not 100% qualified. Okay. Not at all. And neither should we. Seriously. You know, it's, I think for men, as long as they're like, I think I want to say it's like 60% qualified, they'll go ahead and apply. Whereas for women, we want to be like 90 or you know, above 80. So that is definitely something that I love to talk about with women, is to kind of build them up. I mean, that's what mentorship is also, is you know,
Right.
raising others up and lifting them up and making them understand that, no, you can do this. I see you. Like I said, you know, you're not invisible. I hear you. Because that's another thing I love to do, is advocate for women to be heard. You know, there's so many different nonprofits out there that like Swan. I don't know if y'all have heard of Swan, but that's the Service Women's Action Network, and they're very much into policy for women as well. So that's, gosh, I wish I could give you all I have a PDF that I
Well, so don't worry. We
Okay.
will send an email out to everybody who has participated with any resources that you possibly could want us to. So
Wonderful.
feel free to, if you're excited about some of the resources that Marina's talking about, we will send them to you in an email. Don't worry. So that'll be great. Yeah, I think you touch on something that's really interesting there with imposter syndrome, and I'm wondering if you feel like women veterans in particular, more so than women, are subject to feeling that imposter syndrome.
You know, honestly, I think it's I think it's a woman thing, really. That we get that imposter syndrome feeling. You know, because we want to try to be everything for everyone, don't we? We want to try, like Camilla just had a baby recently. Okay. So she's mom, but she's also, you know, spouse. She's also, you know, working with WSP. So you're trying to do all the things. And I think the reason for the mentorship, and, you know, is to help women realize that, you know, you're not an imposter. You're amazing. Well, I almost dropped a swear word there. My Navy almost came out, y'all. I was like, bleh. Okay. But no, seriously. I want all military women and women in general to know that you're a badass. Like, okay, that's not really a swear word. You're a badass and you need to own it, you know, own it. Let that Navy come out. Thank you, Lisa. That's my girl, Lisa. What's up? The crowd can handle it. She's so funny. Oh my gosh. But no, mentorship to me is just so important because I feel like we've lost too many. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. We've lost too many, and we need to keep all the veterans with us. You know, it's from my heart. Like when I mentor, it's from a place of from here, because I just want people to transition successfully. I want people to know that there is something out there for them. You don't have to, just follow what everybody else does. Just reach out to other people. Because there's so many. Like here, I'm going to give you some different places where you can actually reach out to mentors. Okay. Two of the big ones that most people in the transitioning military space, or we call it TSMs, transitioning service member. So if you're a TSM, the two that you really want to look into is American Corporate Partners. They do a year-long mentorship you do it with somebody in the field that you're looking to get into. And it's amazing. I had a really great mentor. And then also there's Veterati. Veterati, you could basically, if you wanted to, talk to one mentor a day for like a year. There's that many mentors on Veterati, myself included. And if you want a list of people that I highly recommend, hit me up. Because there's tons, and I recommend them. After you talk to me, I recommend them too. So, but no, like touching back on what you were talking about with women, I know. Oh, thank you to whoever's putting those in there. Thank you. You're awesome. No, like I said, touching back on the women, I think it's harder for us because we're so used to being that multitasker that we want to do it all ourselves, right? So definitely reaching out is such a good thing.
Right. And I think one of the things that you touched on there that I think is so important is that, so often women are afraid to ask for help. We feel like we have to do everything. And if we are asking for help, that's showing a sign of weakness, or asking for help is some way indicative of our ability or our worth. And I think what you're touching on there is so important. From the other side of seeking out mentorship, we have noticed that women tend to be more hesitant to seek out mentorship. Why do you think that is, and how can we combat it?
Gosh, why is that? Something just popped into my mind. It was like, don't tell me what to do. Basically, with mentorship, oh, there's a baby coming, y'all. Look. So
speaking of the multitasking, somebody is hungry.
Perfect example. Perfect example. No, but so she's gonna, y'all, that is somebody who needs to eat, if y'all understand what I'm saying. So he is going to eat right now while we all talk. Why is it hard for women to seek out mentorship? I mean, I really think we touched on that fact with, we know when we were saying that we want to do everything, as women, we want to appear strong, right? We want to, we don't want people thinking that we can't handle it, and things like that. So combating it, join with other women, join up with other women and get, make that networking connection. Like there's places, oh my gosh, here's one that I highly recommend. Woven. It's called the Women Veterans Network. And I participated while I was still active duty in one of their peer groups. And what you're doing in this peer group is that you're coming together. Thank you for putting it woven in there. So there's actually now two separate things. One is called Bridges. Myself and a bunch of other ladies got to actually be a part of the pilot of Bridges. And what Bridges is it connects you with a veteran that has already been out of the military, so that you have someone that you can always call, that you can always talk to, that has been through the same thing as you, and I think that's what we get kind of afraid of, like is there anybody else out here that's going through the same thing as me? And I'm here to tell you, yes, there are people going through the same thing, that roller coaster of emotion that I talked to you about in the very beginning, right? There's so many people that want to help, and just knowing that there are people out there that want to help, I'm hoping, is combating that feeling of being alone, because you're not. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
really.
I think that's so important and so helpful, Marina. And I think like that sense of solidarity, that sense of like,
Yeah.
you aren't alone. You're not the only one who's ever gone through this. There are other people who have navigated these things. I think that's a huge piece. Tamara put on here, so much of the programs are seemingly focused on recently transitioned service members. What do you recommend for those of us who are 5 or 10 years post-service?
Oh, that is an awesome question. So post-service, if you feel like you aren't in the place that you need to be, the place that, and I use this term all the time, a place that feeds your soul, then it's time for you to figure out what your purpose is. There's a couple of really great places that helped me so much. The Commit Foundation, and I know Whitney's going to put the Commit Foundation in the chat here soon, and also Leader Transition Institute. They have this really great program. It's called Changing Focus, Moving from We to Me. Oh, Lisa's like, wait, what? She loves that one. Okay, so she's been through it. And here's the thing that's also great. If you're a military spouse, you can do both of those as well. But I know we're focusing on the women veterans. Yeah, definitely those two helped me so much to figure out what my purpose was. And then also another one that is fantastic is a 4-block. If you are post-military and you still feel like you want to figure out, all the things, 4-block is fantastic, because you're going to learn about, your elevator pitches. And not that I'm saying that somebody that's 5 years post-military doesn't know that stuff, but it's always good to get a refresher, and it's always good to make new connections, which with 4-block, you're networking like crazy with not only the people in your cohort, but you're also networking with the companies that are coming to present. So, and then also, gosh, I mean, right here, Warrior Scholar Project. It had been, and yeah, I'm going to age myself, y'all. It had been 15 years since I had done my bachelor's degree, and I just started up my master's. And Warrior Scholar Project, going through their humanities cohort, I kid you not, okay, some of the information that was in here was in my very first week of schoolwork that I'm going through at Texas A&M. I mean, how awesome is that, right? That it was like a lot of the references were already in this awesome thing right here, So I hope that was a good answer to your question.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's really helpful. And we really appreciate the plug for WSP. Absolutely. We want every transitioning veteran who's interested in going into higher education to come and attend one of our workshops. We would love that. But yeah, I think that I think that what you're bringing up there is that there's a lot of resources available. What advice do you have for folks who are like, okay, I'm ready. I'm sold on this idea of mentorship. I understand that there are all these organizations. I love it, but I am really nervous about seeking out mentors. How do I go about just like connecting with people and almost selling myself and selling the fact that I could be a good mentee or that I need a mentor? How do you do that?
So those two that I recommended are definitely a great first start. But if you really want to reach out to people that are doing the job that you want to do, gosh, am I able to share my screen? Because I totally want to show y'all what you can do on LinkedIn. It's amazing the amount of people, and oh, I have to laugh at what Whitney talked about. So there's an author, and I'm going to show you the size of this book. An author called de Tocqueville. Okay, so she was talking about you never know when you're going to need de Tocqueville. Well, that is the book, and it's ginormous. But no, let me see if I can share the screen real quick. Okay, screen one, yes.
That's super helpful. And while you're doing that, I think Lisa put in here a really good reminder. Remember that the mentor does not need to be military connected too. Us civilians want to help and mentor folks.
Most definitely. Like Lisa is amazing. My girl Lori Norris, also not military affiliated, but all she wants to do is help. So somebody toss out a job name in the chat, and I will. I'll show you what I do and how to do what I call targeted networking. So, or just shout one out.
Marketing manager.
Marketing manager.
Marketing manager.
Okay, so marketing manager. Whoopsie, can't spell today. Manager, not manger. Yes. Remember on your remember to do spell check, because marketing, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so marketing manager. Oops, I don't want jobs. I want people. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to type marketing manager up in the top here, and then I'm going to choose people. Okay, so this is going to show in my area because I'm in California. It's going to show San Diego. What I do is I click on all filters. Retired Navy, right? That is me. I am going to go into past company, and I'm going to add a company here, and I'm going to put US Navy. Boom. Show results. So look at this number, y'all. 23.5 million people are marketing managers. Okay. So 23.5 gets dropped down to 40,000 people when you just put in US Navy. Now, maybe I am looking for only in California. So I can choose California. So 23.5 million down to 40,000 down to 4,900. Now I can look into people I'm already connected with. I can look into companies that I want to talk to. So maybe I want to talk to somebody that works for Northrop Grumman because I want to stay in defense contracting, or Booz Allen Hamilton for the same kind of thing, right? Or Amazon. So I'm going to go with Northrop Grumman. So remember, 23.5 million, 40,000, 4,900. Northrop Grumman, 22 people. That's a lot better, right? Like we've reduced it by 1,000,000%. I don't know math, y'all. Please don't quote me. But I would then reach out. So you see how it says connect here, right? All of these people are in California. Okay. I could reach out to somebody. So we'll look at Dan Digadillo here, right? He's a principal project manager. So what I would do is I would connect. I would click connect here, and then always, oh my gosh, always add a note. And I would just say, Dan, I would like to connect to you to speak with you about, your project management position that you have at Northrop Grumman. Would you be willing to do a virtual cup of coffee with me? Or if you're in San Diego, would you be willing to have an actual cup of coffee with me? Now, only a, gosh, what's the word? I'm trying to be polite right now and not Navy. Honestly, no, I'm not going to say it. Only an asshole will say no. Okay. I did use the word, y'all. Seriously, the only people that are going to say no to connecting with you are just extremely rude people. Okay. But that is how you connect with people. Okay. That's how you reach out and you ask them to talk with you. I mean, that's how I was doing it. Before I got into the nonprofit world, I was looking at doing something called organizational effectiveness. So all I did was the same exact thing I just showed you. I typed in organizational effectiveness, and then I went from there. And then I started reaching out. I even had like a notebook where I wrote down questions, because you can find questions for people. Let's see, type in the jobs position. What does that mean? Oh, select people. Oh, okay, somebody's writing what I was doing. Okay. Now, the other way you can do it also, if you don't want to look by people, you can also do it by the job as well. Let's see. Okay, so jobs.
That's okay, Cassandra. Thank you.
I was like, what? So yeah, you can look here and then look at all the positions here, and then also reach out to the person that is the recruiter right here, or the hiring manager right here. So you could reach out. Let's say you're looking at this amazing position here for this company called 256, okay, in LA. And I like them because they put their salary, yay. I would just reach out to Jamin or Jamin and say, good morning, Jamin. I was looking at your content marketing manager position, and I would like to know if there's somebody that I could speak to, the hiring manager, or if I could speak to the hiring manager, or if there's somebody in that team that I could speak with about, day-to-day life. And they would say, oh yeah, why don't I set you up with Mary, and then you start talking with that person. Okay. I don't know. I mean, are there questions about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think that's really, really helpful information. Thank you so much, Marina. That's so great. I think this kind of ties into one of the questions that we had thought about is, and what Lisa was referring to earlier is, people oftentimes choose to mentor or be mentored by people that are really similar to themselves. But then that kind of limits you to, just the people in your network, or just the people who look like you or come from different background, the same background as you. So are there any benefits to diversifying who you approach for mentorship or mentoring? And then what are some ways that you can do that?
Oh, most definitely is the answer to that question. I mean, yes, I have other women that are retired military women that are my mentors and my mentees, but I also have, non-military, like Lisa, not Stein, but Lisa Stern, that I think is also in here as well. She's an amazing mentor to me. But what you're asking about is, diversification. Do you want to have just the same mentorship, like what you would say? Do you want to hear what you're going to say to someone else? Like, I went with people that are different military branches. I went with people that are, not military affiliated at all, because I wanted to have differing opinions and differing knowledge, because how boring is it to have exactly the same, information? Um, yeah, I definitely wanted to have, more than just the same people telling me the same information, if that makes sense. How can you diversify? What I just showed you, is a way for you to reach out to people that are not in your, yes, quote unquote, they're in your network. Because remember, I was looking at US Navy, but because I wanted to have that one connection. But just because I have that connection doesn't mean that that person's going to be the same, like they're not going to have lived the same life as me. Like they were they active duty, were they a reservist, were they a junior or enlisted, were they senior enlisted, were they an officer, were they never in the military? Diversifying means that you're getting more knowledge than what you already have. And how is that a bad thing? We always want to grow our knowledge base, and I think diversifying is the way to do it.
I think that's really, really poignant and helpful. Do you have any tips on how to be a good mentor?
Ooh, my big one is to listen. To be a good mentor, oh gosh, definitely listen, but also, honestly, I think I want to flip it and talk about what it is to be a good mentee. Also, remember that as a mentee, don't take anything that someone is saying, take it with a grain of salt. Basically, the recommendations that I give to my mentees are things that I have done that I know worked, and that's why I'm passing that knowledge on, right? So as a mentee, just know that you don't have to take every single thing, but you definitely, there is a relationship there, right? Oh gosh, yes, who put that? Mentees should be prepared to drive the relationship. Oh, that's awesome. And I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat as we do this too. Miss Marina and Camila, thanks for facilitating this webinar. I'm a male attending this event and I'm gaining so much information. Good, I'm so glad, because you gaining information means you're going to be a supporter and an ally. And that is something that as women, we love for you to be there to lift us up. And I appreciate that. Hi, oh, it's Travis.
And I think one of the things Travis is bringing up that's really important. So what we were just talking about before is how folks typically seek out mentees that are similar to themselves. And so that is how a lot of times women get left out of that pipeline, right? Yeah. Because men are in higher positions or have been through and are in executive level roles, and they're not bringing women along with them. And so Travis, I think what you're saying there is really important, because this is valuable information for everybody to participate in, whether that is making sure that you are bringing along your people of color, whether that is bringing along women, whether that is bringing along folks with disabilities, or people with different backgrounds than you, seeking out those. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Facts, Camilla, facts.
Yeah, exactly. So I know that you've already mentioned some of these, but one of the questions that we have specifically on here is, Do you have any recommendations for women veterans mentorship programs? I know that you mentioned Woven. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure to bring up?
I'm going to open up my PDF that I was talking about and look. So for women, we already put Woven.
Mhm.
There's women veterans or womenvetsrock.org.
Mhm.
Here in California, there's the Foundation for Women Warriors.
Mhm.
There's the Women Veterans Alliance. Here, I'm actually going to do this to help out our girl. And I'm just going to grab this entire thing.
Because Whitney is Googling like
Whitney's
crazy.
like, oh my God.
How do
Thanks,
I
Marina.
how do I put all these in the
Oh,
chat?
Marina, talk slower. Okay, hold on. I'm going to open it because I have it in a PDF. I opened it up in a PDF and that's not working for me to be able to grab the links. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to it says for the ladies, and I'm going to grab all of it. Boom. And I'm going to, gosh, I hope it works and it doesn't try to cut some of them off. Good.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And you know what? We will send all of this in the email. So if you don't have access to the chat or are not able to grab those out of the chat, that's okay too. So don't worry about that.
I'll send them my entire PDF. And
Perfect.
the PDF doesn't just have stuff for women veterans. I mean, there's stuff for if you're in special operations.
Awesome.
Remember, as a woman, for special operations, most women are going to be in support, but
Right.
you're still a part of that team. So
Right.
you can go to things like the Honor Foundation and the Special Operators Transition Foundation and Elite Meet, which I think a lot of women don't realize that if they're in that community, they have access to that.
Right. Right.
I have a good friend that just graduated from the Honor Foundation, my girl Vivian, and she was one of like only a couple women in that entire graduation. And I just want to see more, more people
Right.
reaching out to these amazing nonprofits and foundations.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does someone know if a mentor or mentorship relationship is right for them, and one that they should seek out?
I feel like it should be as easy as talking to, I don't want to say a family member, but it should be as easy as talking to a friend. I mean, just that's how I approach my mentorship relationships, is that I'm there to pay it forward and to help someone out, either by giving them resources or being a sounding board, listening to the questions or issues that they might have, that they're going through in their transition or post-military, being a veteran. Because being a veteran, you still have access to resources, but I think they're not as many as there is in active duty. So and even in the military, we have, there was, hey, let's do mentorship and signing papers and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like mentorship now for me is just about paying it forward. It really is about being able to be there for someone, because, and I know I've said it already and like 100 times, that roller coaster is going to hit you. Like, it'll hit you. You're like, yes, I'm getting out. Woo! Retiring, separating, whatever, it's happening. And then a week later, you're gonna be like, and it that's what it did to me. It really did. Like, I was excited, and then the next minute I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna see all these people anymore. And oh, that's a great question. When you get out, there are a ton of options. How do you know which ones to choose? Yes, very much so. So gosh, Whitney was talking about predatory resources. Please the main reason for a mentor is to help you out with that. Please look into places like I was talking about, Best Industry. They have a library of resources on the website, okay, that have all been vetted so that we know that it's not, someone from, I don't know, I don't want to say a specific country and get called out for it. So it's not like Al Qaeda trying to, get you into a nonprofit, right? That is the ones that I talk about are ones, like I said, that I have used or that someone that I'm close to has used and they have gotten success from it. Because, and that's really the reason for the mentor, right? Like it's about building trust. That is what relationships are, is trust building. So
I think that's really important. I know there are so many different resources that are out there for veterans, and unfortunately some of them are predatory. And so oftentimes in our organization, if we are wanting to partner with somebody or work with somebody, we will put it in our all community, our company-wide chat, and just say, hey, has anyone heard of this? And
Right.
so maybe it's throwing it on LinkedIn or throwing it into Facebook or something and saying like, hey, veteran friends, has anyone heard of this? Has anyone had any experience with this organization before?
Right.
Because that, you're right, that is a concern and something that happens.
Absolutely. And it's sad that there are people that are out there that want to profit off the backs of
Yeah.
military members or veterans. And it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, it pisses me off, honestly.
Yeah.
to be quite frank.
Right, exactly. Well, so the last question that I have that I think would be really helpful is just, can you give an example of how mentorship has made a difference to you, or give an example of an important mentor?
Mentorship, how that was, oh gosh. So I'm gonna shout out a couple people. I don't know if they're watching, but my friend Hira, she recommended Whitney's like, yes, girl. She recommended WSP to me because I was very trepidatious about starting up my master's degree. Like I said, it's been 15 years. And Cassie and I, who she's on here as well from WSP, she was actually the first person I talked to. And then I talked with Mike, also from WSP, and they were like, listen, you can do this. What we're going to do is, normally WSP is for people that are going and getting their bachelor's, but because it's been so long since you've done any kind of degree work, we're going to allow you to come into the class. And I was like, that's amazing. Like, how awesome that they, that y'all would do that. And Hira is the one that said, Marina, I really think you should try WSP just to, get your footing, see what it's going to be like to do intensive reading and writing papers and stuff again. And I was like, okay, girl, I'm going to do it. So I ended up doing it, and the rest is history.
That's great. And I think one of the things that you bring up there that I think is a really important point that I hope that folks hear is that if you feel like something would be beneficial for you, even if you don't necessarily meet all the criteria, or if you explicitly don't meet the criteria, ask anyway, right? The worst thing that can happen is someone say, no, we can't do that. But it could be that, hey, this is an exception because I could be really benefited from this, or you could benefit from this. So I think that that's really important, Marina.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna throw out my I'm gonna throw my sis Lisa Stern out there too. You want to talk about mutual like love society. Lisa is amazing. She helped me to get into a position where I'm able to mentor, dozens of people at a time. And that just makes me so happy. Like She's throwing emojis. But no, seriously, yes, I'm gonna throw you some love too. Without all these amazing people that have gone before you, or these people that are in the space that you're in that want to raise you up, and like I don't know where I would be, honestly. And I tell that to my friends. I tell that to my friends all the time, that without them, I'm not sure where I would be. And please, if you have mentors, tell them thank you. Like I want to say thank you to Lisa and Bruce, and there's so many people, Mary Kate and Brian, and I mean, like there's tons and tons of people. Annie, I feel like I'm doing the Grammys or something right now, but really there's so many people out there that want to be of service. Somebody just put, I get by with a little help from my friends. I just saw that in the chat. A little bit of Joe Cocker. If you don't know that song, it's a great song.
That's so great. And I think that is really helpful. Just, acknowledging folks that have made a difference in our lives and making sure that to let them know is really important and helpful. So those are all of the questions that we have. But we have a few minutes left. If anybody has any questions that they would love for Marina to talk about, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can also let us know, raise your hand and we can unmute you, and you can ask yourself if you'd like. Whitney, do you have anything else, or Lisa, did you have anything else that you wanted to make sure that we touched on before we sign off today?
We're going to have Cassie come on for a second and talk about WSP.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks, Marina, for joining us and giving us all of your, my cat, always in meetings, every time. I can't stop it. I just have given up on, making him leave. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your expertise on this. That LinkedIn thing, I did not know about. So that was such an amazing resource to know that exists. Just amazing. Thank you so much. And everything else that you've talked about has just been really eye-opening and great. And I think that as women, we often feel like imposters. And I feel like Lillian said this in the chat, that we're reluctant to ask for help because we don't want to feel like burdens on other people. And I think that that's true for most women, especially women veterans. And so it's really great to hear you talk about how there are folks like yourself out there who are like, no, we want you to, this is what we're here for, is for, to give help and to mentor you and finding your path. So we really appreciate you coming and talking with us and spending the afternoon. And I do want to just talk a little bit about Warrior Scholar Project, and that we have amazing programs lined up for the summer. If I'm going to put the program dates here in the chat, so that will send you to our website where we have all of our programs and program dates lined up for the summer. There's an apply button at the top. Please hit that apply button. That will send you to our interest form. Once you submit that, then that will prompt one of us from outreach to reach out to you and have a larger conversation about your educational goals and how we can help you on that path. And then one other thing that I want to highlight is our women-specific programming that we will have at Yale. And that's really exciting. We did that. We piloted it last year. It was an amazing success. We're doing it again, and we're adding a STEM component onto that. So it's not just humanities, it will be humanities and STEM for women only, and it will be in person, fingers crossed. So that will be an amazing opportunity to take advantage of. I know that I got to sit in a little bit for the women specific programming last year, and the community that those women created for themselves in just a short amount of time was awesome. It was just the most amazing thing to witness and to be a part of. And a lot of the feedback that I was hearing was that being amongst just women allowed, this is kind of almost really sad, but it allowed for them to feel as if they had a voice and that people actually wanted to listen to them. And so if you are feeling like you're thinking about school, or if you know someone who's thinking about school, tell them about our programs. And if they're women and they are maybe a little bit more reluctant, please tell them about our women specific programming. It is designed just for women. And this is what we are, along with our dialogues here and our women specific programming and all of the other initiatives that we're doing with women. This is what we're trying to do, is create this community kind of like for women by women. As you can see, everyone here on our panel and our hosts and things like that, they're women. So this is the community that we are creating. It's for women and for allies as well that want to tell other women about our amazing programs and how we support them, and really just want to be a part of that community as well. So please go to our website, or if you know someone, a veteran or a woman veteran that is interested or thinking about school, please direct them to that website. And again, once they fill out that application, someone from outreach will be reaching out to them and having a larger conversation with them about that. So thank you. Thanks, Whitney, for giving me a little platform.
Cassie, thank you so much for bringing that up. And we so appreciate that perspective. Another thing that I want to just piggyback off of is saying, if you feel like there is something that WSP could be doing for women and you want us to do it, please let us know, because we would be happy to start another program. The reason why we started the all women cohort was because of feedback that people gave. And the reason why we're doing these women's empowerment dialogues are because of feedback that we were given. So really let me know. We'd love to do it. All women business cohort, women's conferences. I love all of these things, and I will definitely put them on my radar. So yeah, please let us know. Cassie, you're wonderful. Marina, thank you so very, very much for spending time with us today. I know I got a lot out of this conversation. I hope other people did. We are so appreciative. Like I said, we will send out an email and we'll send out your contact information. We'll send out all of the links and resources that you have to make sure that folks have access to all those things.
And if anybody's in SoCal, we have been doing some in person. We've done a couple already, one in November and one in December. So, just hit me up, I'm here, I'm available, and I want to, Cassandra's like, ooh, me, I'm in SoCal. Yeah, just please hit me up. I put my email on there. You can also, on the website, there is on the Military Women's Collective website, there is a way for you to request a mentoring session. So thank you, everybody, so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Marina. You're all wonderful. Thank you.